All right, people, welcome back. Save America, vote Tulsi Gabbard. We are stuck at 3,248 subscribers. We're stuck. This channel was at one time doing 1,000 new subscribers per month. And I think we've been at this since April. So April and May, we were gaining like gangbusters. And now we are literally stopped. So for those of you who are subscribed, aloha. Thanks for being here. Check to see if you've actually been unsubscribed, but my guess is they're just not gonna. I don't know. Maybe people understand what I'm about, and they've just decided that they want to go to a more progressive person or a source where they feel like there's a kinship between themselves and me or the person they're watching. I want to talk about this article here, and we'll continue to do the channel. Obviously we're not going to pull up stakes and abandon Tulsi. Tulsi needs us until, like I always say, until she's the president or she's mathematically eliminated from contention. But this article here, this came out in January, and what's interesting is basically a preemptive strike against Tulsi. But I've been seeing more and more tweets about this. Daily Cost, whatever this is, endorses primary challenger to Gabbard. Okay. And this comes in from The Hill, who... The Hill is really just an antagonistic publication, by the way, to pretty much anyone who's out of that neocon, neoliberal sort of, center lane, don't disrupt the status quo. They are always antagonistic, and it's on both sides of the aisle, by the way. So I'm going to have some controversial opinions on this article, and I'm if I tick a few people off and lose some more subscribers, oh well. Progressive news site Daily Cost announced Thursday that the group is endorsing Rep. Tulsi Gabbard's primary challenger in Hawaii's 2nd District because we need more regime change wars. Oh, I'm adding a few sentences, so you'll have to just deal with that. Daily Cost is backing State Senator Kai Kahalei, who announced his primary campaign earlier this week to take on Gabbard, who's seeking the Democratic presidential nomination in 2020. Daily Cost called Kahalei a veteran who served in the Hawaii Air National Guard and who is also a civilian pilot. A solid progressive, and criticized Gabbard as at odds with the Democratic Party. Okay, so now the things they're going to cite about how she's at odds with the Democratic Party have really nothing to do with the real issues she's at odds with the Democratic Party on. But let's talk about this. Let's read this, because this is very instructive. Throughout her 6 years in Congress, Gabbard has repeatedly shown how out of step she is with mainstream progressive values, despite the fact that she represents such a deep blue district. Daily Cost political director David Neer said in the Post. Now, this guy Neer is a cretin. I've seen him online. I've seen him over on Twitter. And he's a tribalist, and he has no... He just wants to keep the war going between the two factions. I mean, it's really sad that news has devolved into how can we make people angry at one another to continue our viewership or to generate more clicks, because that's what this is about. Kahalei represents a stark contrast to Gabbard's problematic history on abortion rights. Okay, so Gabbard personally doesn't like abortion. She and her, all three of us at this point, we are kind of on the same page. So here's the thing. You cannot personally think that abortion is a bad thing. You can't even... I've talked to progressives that say, hey, I'm not a big fan of abortion, but if we don't keep it legal, people are going to do crazy things to try to get an abortion. And that's my logic. I have settled on that position. Doesn't change how I feel about it personally. Okay? And that is Gabbard's position. By the way, isn't she 100% pro-choice voting record? So, because in her brain, and this, by the way, this is so emblematic of what's happening to people's ability to think these days. I want to go inside your brain, and I want to change what's going on in there. And you have to, like the disavow thing. Do you disavow this? Do you disavow it again? Like the David Duke thing. How many times can you disavow something? All right, so abortion rights. That's a big problem, even though she's 100% pro-choice voting record, right? I don't think she's ever voted against anything. Or, I don't know. Just because she feels that way in her brain, she's a problem to people because they want her to think the way they do. All right. So anyway, her support they go from abortion rights to Syrian director Bashar al-Assad. Okay, because she met with Assad. That was something that you just don't do, and we've been over this a million times. And by the way, the Syrian gas attack, nobody reported on it. I'm sure The Hill didn't cover it. Daily Kos didn't cover it. Which is that the whole thing was a staged hoax. That was the official report. Okay, it was a staged hoax. Now, that should probably get me demonetized at this point. Just throwing that out there. Okay, so, and her refusal to join her Democratic colleagues in the House in backing progressive priorities like an assault weapons ban. I don't know if she voted against the priorities. Backing, in other words, did she co-sponsor? I don't see, this context makes it sound like she's just, willy-nilly in the pocket of the NRA or something, which I guarantee you that's not her position. She's seen war firsthand. So I don't think she's going to be, hey man, let's get some more assault weapons on the street. Gabbard attracted criticism from both sides of the aisle. Well, why should you care about what the Republicans think? Because she met with Assad. So we went to Assad, we left Assad, we went to the assault weapons ban, and then this article went back to Assad. The Congresswoman has also faced scrutiny over her previous, let me say that again, her previous stances on gay rights. Okay, I'm going to say something, this is the controversial part of this. I'm really getting tired about hearing about gay rights. I'm tired, and I don't mean to say it in a negative way. I'm just saying that the position that you take on this is never good enough, it seems. If you say, I'm for it, let's stop the discrimination, and Tulsi has given speeches, like flat-out speeches, where she said the housing issues, the discrimination in all of these different places where people, apply for jobs and there shouldn't be discrimination. I am a supporter of individual rights for anybody who's breathing. Okay? I don't care what you do in your private life, in that time, in your bedroom, whatever. That's a very libertarian stance. I don't think I may not necessarily be shouting from the rooftops and celebrating whatever it is you're doing in your bedroom, and who cares if I am or I'm not? Again, you're trying to get inside my brain, and I think this is where we're at now. So you're not thinking properly, even though, again, Tulsi Gabbard has a 100% pro-gay rights voting record. 100%. But she didn't think the right way prior to this. And it talks about how she issued a lengthy apology for past comments. And, okay, so she apologized. and she's voted with you 100% of the time. But again, this is where you get like the Anna Kasparians of the world who are reaching conclusions that are baseless, completely baseless. Cahaley announced his intention to challenge Gabbard on Martin Luther King Day. Oh, how appropriate, because we know that Gabbard's not for civil rights probably either. We're going to get some other spin. We need dedicated leadership and an aspirational vision. I don't know. There are not too many people that are more aspirational or inspirational right now on the political scene than Tulsi Gabbard. Okay, this is my opinion, but I've watched politicians all my life, and I don't know who this Cahaley guy is, but I can guarantee you Tulsi would be a breath of fresh air for daughters, families raising their children, and they could turn on the television and see President Gabbard and look at their daughter, or even their son, but just saying, women, here's an inspirational figure. Here's somebody who's done something with their life. Here's a JFK quality leader, okay? Somebody who puts service above self, and she means it. So I don't know, this dedicated leadership, I don't know how you get more dedicated than Tulsi Gabbard. Cahaley was appointed by the governor to fill the Senate. Oh, so he just didn't even run. Just was an appointee to the state Senate. Because his late father had won a full term. Now, sorry to hear about his late father. But you were just installed because your father passed away. So Tulsi's won a couple of really hard-fought elections. And she says here, well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Gabbard recently told CNN's Jake Tapper, I haven't heard from Senator Cahaley, but whatever he decides to do, I wish him well. Oh, so, again, not antagonistic about it, just straight up, being polite. When asked if she's concerned about a primary challenger, Gabbard said she's not thinking about politics right now. Gabbard has previously faced primary challenges in past elections, but refused to debate them and easily won those primaries. Really? Okay. So she just didn't debate. So if she didn't debate, then does that mean she was afraid to debate? I don't know. She just says, I refuse to debate them. There's no real, I don't know all of the ins and outs of that. Maybe she had a good reason for it. Don't know. Maybe they weren't serious candidates, and she felt she didn't have to debate. By the way, debates are, half the time debates are pretty useless. Anyway, they really are. Because I want to know about what the candidate wants to do. I don't want this, this contest, this one-upsmanship gotcha, see if we can get a soundbite for Morning Joe tomorrow. Anyway, Markos Molitsas, the founder of Daily Kos, has been critical of Gabbard, recently tweeting about Gabbard jumping into the 2020 presidential race because she represents an existential threat to the monopoly or the duopoly of the two-party system. That is why. She could run as a Green Party candidate. She could do so much damage to this political system, and you know what? Bring it on. Bring it on. A lot of people thought that Trump was like a Molotov cocktail. Well, Tulsi Gabbard would be, a rocket-propelled grenade, okay, if she got in there. And let's just hope. Let's just hope and pray that she catches some mojo during these debates and can stand this entire thing on its head. Because she is the most qualified person to be president by far. All of these smears, all of this stuff, and like I said, I was a little controversial here. I'm just tired of hearing about this. I'm tired of hearing about this. Because it seems like you can never say enough there. You can never do enough. You can't say, I'm 100% for them. I am for equal rights and equal protection under the law. And apparently that's just not good enough. And if you had a past where you didn't agree on that, or by, I guess, your religious values or views, you all of a sudden can't hold those religious... See, and that's the thing. Do you protect religion? Do you protect individuals? Well, you protect all of it. That's what we do. That's what we're supposed to do. But now you've got to pick, like, and this is all based on identity politics. And identity politics, honestly, is a disaster. It's a disaster for the Democratic Party, and it's a disaster for politics in general, and anybody who cares more about ID politics than, the fact that the military-industrial complex runs our entire country. If you're more concerned about those things, then you've got issues. You're the one that needs to reconcile your issues with reality. Okay? And I don't care if you're gay or you're straight, if we don't have a planet because a nuclear war has commenced, your individual pet peeve thing, your issue, is going to not matter at all. You're going to look for a bunker to hide in with your fellow citizens. You're not going to ask them what orientation they are when you're on your way to the bunker to avoid the nuclear disaster that lurks. So just a little perspective, people. And, I'm tired of hearing about this online. Yeah, I have some center-right enzymes here that are bubbling, so surfacing to the top, and I apologize. But man, oh man, I'm tired of these tribal issues being turned into these giant things when they're really not. Americans should be able to agree about equal protection under the law. All right, I'm done. See you soon.